Hello everyone, you are on the channel. It's funny to tears, and today we're diving headfirst into a story that proves sometimes the road to deliciousness is paved with absolute chaos. This isn't just a baking story, it's a saga of hope, despair, and a whole lot of flour. It all started with a simple, innocent idea: to bake the most epic, multi-layered, show-stopping birthday cake for my best friend Sarah. What could possibly go wrong? Famous last words, my friends. Famous last words. The plan was ambitious. We're not talking about a simple sponge cake from a box. Oh no, I was aiming for a 4-layer chocolate fudge cake with raspberry filling, Swiss meringue buttercream, and a delicate chocolate drip. I'd seen countless videos online. The bakers made it look so effortless, like a graceful dance between whisk and bowl. I thought, I can do that. I had my ingredients laid out, my apron on, and my confidence at an all-time high. The kitchen was my kingdom, and I was its benevolent, spatula-wielding ruler. The first sign of trouble appeared during the cake baking phase. The recipe called for separating 6 eggs. I've separated eggs before, but on this particular day, my hands decided to have the coordination of a baby giraffe on roller skates. The first egg? Perfect. The second? A tiny speck of yolk fell into the whites. It's fine, I muttered, trying to fish it out with a spoon, which only made it worse. By the 4th egg, a full-on yolk rebellion had occurred. My pristine bowl of egg whites now looked like a sad, lumpy sunrise. I sighed, threw it out, and started over. Round 2 was more successful. The cakes went into the oven, and they actually smelled amazing. My confidence started to creep back up. While the cakes were cooling, I moved on to the Swiss meringue buttercream. This is where things went from slightly wobbly to a full-blown disaster movie. You're supposed to gently heat egg whites and sugar over a double boiler until the sugar dissolves. I, in my infinite wisdom, got distracted by a notification on my phone. Just for a second. When I turned back, the bottom of the mixture had started to cook. I basically had sweet, scrambled egg whites. It was horrifying. There was no saving it. Into the bin it went, along with my rapidly dwindling sanity. Attempt number 2 at the buttercream. This time, I watched it like a hawk. I whisked and whisked until my arm felt like it was going to fall off. I transferred it to my stand mixer and let it whip into a beautiful, glossy meringue. Yes, I cheered, alone in my kitchen. The next step was to add the butter, piece by piece. The recipe warned it may look curdled at first, but just keep mixing. Well, it looked curdled, and it stayed curdled. It looked like cottage cheese that had made some very poor life choices. I kept the mixer running, praying for a miracle. For 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, nothing. It just got soupier. I had created a sweet, buttery soup. I felt a single tear roll down my cheek. The kitchen was starting to look like a war zone, with flour dust settling on every surface. At this point, any rational person would have given up and gone to a bakery, but I am not always a rational person. Fueled by sheer stubbornness and a dangerous amount of caffeine, I decided to try one more time. 3rd time's the charm, right? I raced to the store for more eggs and butter, my hair dusted with flour, looking like a mad scientist. Back in the kitchen, I went through the motions again. Double boiler, whisking, stand mixer, and this time, it worked. It was magic. The curdled mess suddenly transformed into the smoothest, silkiest, most beautiful buttercream I had ever seen. I literally cried with joy. I might have hugged my stand mixer. With my newfound success, I started assembling the cake. I leveled the layers, which sent chocolate crumbs flying in every direction, covering me, the floor, and probably the cat who was watching from a safe distance with judgmental eyes. I added the raspberry filling and started to stack. Layer 1, good. Layer 2, looking great. Layer 3, a bit wobbly. I put the 4th layer on top and the whole thing started to lean. It wasn't a slight lean, it was the leaning tower of Pisa of cakes. I frantically inserted skewers to try and stabilize it, turning my beautiful cake into a chocolatey porcupine. Then came the crumb coat, a thin layer of frosting to trap the crumbs. I put it in the fridge to set, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could salvage this. After 30 minutes, I took it out for the final coat of frosting. I started applying my perfect hard-won buttercream. As I smoothed the side, I heard a faint slop sound. I froze. One of the bottom layers, heavy with raspberry filling and existential dread, had decided to give up. It slid sideways, taking a chunk of the cake with it, and landing on the counter with a sad splat. My leaning tower had officially collapsed. There I stood, in a kitchen covered in flour, sugar, and shattered dreams, staring at a pile of what looked like a geological survey of a chocolate mountain. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just started laughing. A wild, slightly unhinged laugh. It was so spectacularly awful that it was hilarious. The cake wasn't just a failure. It was a masterpiece of destruction. It was a monument to things going wrong. So, what did I do? I scraped the entire mess into a big glass trifle bowl. I layered the broken cake pieces with the glorious buttercream and the raspberry filling. I topped it with the chocolate drip that I had prepared earlier, which now looked less like an elegant decoration and more like a desperate attempt to hide the evidence. I called it Deconstructed Chocolate Raspberry Chaos Cake. And you know what? Sarah and our friends absolutely loved it. They said it was the best, most delicious mess they had ever eaten. We spent a whole night laughing about my kitchen catastrophe. The moral of the story is that sometimes, even when things fall apart completely, you can still salvage something wonderful, and maybe even a little bit hilarious, from the wreckage. And also, maybe just buy a cake next time. What's your biggest kitchen disaster? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear that I'm not alone in my culinary chaos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that are funny to tears. See you next time.